Hello and welcome to Access Sportsnet Lakers, driven by your Southern California Honda dealers. I'm Chris McGee, Hall of Famers, Big Game James Worthy, 7-time champion Robert Horry. We've got Brez that's going to join us in a little bit. Trudell and Allie work in the locker room. The Lakers have lost 4 of 5. They've lost 3 in a row. This one to the Wizards. They had a 17-point lead with 9 minutes to go in the third quarter. Had a chance to win at the end of regulation as well. They've gone overtime with Detroit, OKC, and the Wizards. So some of the bottom dwellers of the NBA.
Yeah, they did bottom dweller, but they all got heart. If you look at where Detroit came out, they played them hard. You look at where OKC played them hard. Tonight, they played them really hard. You look at Westbrook and Bradley Beal, an all-star, came out and gave them 30 apiece, 60 points plus with those guys. And when you have dynamic guards like that and you're missing one of yours, it's going to be a long night.
Yeah, I mean, look, in this game, if you allow teams to feel like they can beat you, then, you have guys like Westbrook and Bill and, well-coached team, they're probably going to do it. And so that's what happened. The Lakers had a 17-point lead. They took their foot off the gas. They made some really stupid, silly turnovers, stopped executing, stopped moving, and they didn't deserve it. It was an ugly win. If I were coaching, I might have them practice about 30 minutes after this game because it was something they needed to play well. They played well, enough to win this game and to come out in the third quarter. And look, the Wizards are good. They got some good players. They got 2
on the street.
Exciting players. They've been winning. But when you have a 17-point lead, you have to come with a different mentality. They stop moving the ball. Look, I don't mind when the ball is in LeBron's hand if he's hot, but when he has it, there's not a lot of ball movement going on down the stretch. And that's why they were difficult getting shots. There was no movement. The defense was set right on him. And there was just, not enough to overcome the victory. So they didn't deserve it tonight. They didn't deserve it. And, Washington played well down the stretch with some other players that hit some big shots.
Last sequence here, LeBron with 7 seconds, pulled up from long range, and Kuz gets the rebound, kind of chucks it up, and there's your ball game.
Another thing, too, Geeter. LeBron's getting a little tired, I think. How many minutes tonight?
Over 40.
Yeah, see,
tonight was 43, James. He's been over 40 4 times this year. They've all been in the overtime.
They got to start taking a look at that, even though they need wins and they need LeBron. They got to play without him sometime and let them get back into the motion like they did in the first half. The ball was moving. They were getting some decent shots.
Yeah, well, you mentioned something earlier, James. You said coaching. And we know Vogel is huge on stats. You're not looking at the stats and see where this guy has only played 23 minutes and he's giving you 26 points.
Montrezl
Harrell. And I think sometimes coaches get so caught up in shooting threes that you think you have to win a game by shooting threes. Montrez was killing on the inside. He was getting rebounds. He was getting points in the paint. And they had a lead. They stopped going to him, start shooting a lot of threes. Montrez is not in the game. That hustle guy, that energy guy. And you start going downhill.
So he goes with Gasol a lot down the stretch in that fourth quarter in this overtime. Must be a defensive matchup. What are you seeing from Gasol defensively that you're not seeing from? Obviously the size, but I mean, because we were all thinking maybe, hey, there was a time where they were stagnant. You need a guy like Trez in there.
Well, for me, watching that, you watching Lopez. You can guard Lopez. I can guard Lopez. So you can still put Montrez in the game because Montrez was going to work on it. I know Lopez probably got a couple of jumpers on him in the first quarter, but Montrez figured him out. Montrez said, I know what to do. I'm going to swipe him down low so he can't get the shot off. And Montrez is a very smart player. He took a huge charge down the stretch. And you got to have guys like that because you had that one moment in the game where LeBron and Gasol switched. Gasol got blown by. Got blown by full layup. If Trez in there, at least you get a better on-ball defender than Gasol. And I think there are moments like that where you got to sometimes – I know this is your rotation. You're not used to having Trez down the stretch in the game because you usually have AD in there. Hey, he's rolling for you. He's a good defensive player. He's a smart player. He's a hustle player. You have to use him.
I agree. I agree 100%. Game plans are just that. They're game plans. And sometimes, you have to throw that away and just play by the feel of the game. And you needed energy. You needed extra possessions. You needed, you needed your Montrezl Harrell in there. So I know Marc Gasol plays his role. He can knock down the three and has knocked down the three. But I would agree with you there, Rob. He was effective. You know, he was enhancing what LeBron does out there as well. So yeah, I mean, it was an ugly loss, and everyone's got to take a look at it, coaching staff and the players. 17-point lead. You come out and you play like you're down 17 in the first 6 minutes of the third, and you put it away. Washington, you know, I don't think they had that fight in them if the Lakers had come out and, you know, played strong, but they let them back in. And when you let them back in, everybody gets excited. Westbrook, you know, Bill, everybody's shooting threes then. Lopez is scoring. So they felt like they need to keep their streak going because the Lakers kind of gave them an opening.
You know, timing is everything, and it just AD goes down, and you feel like Dennis Schroeder is really going to step up as that number 2. He has 24 points. We're talking about it. And then he goes out for the health and safety protocols, and he's really missed these last 3 games, especially in times like this where you see these long stretches for the Lakers offensively where they're not getting a bucket. They're going 7 minutes in the third quarter, 9 minutes over stretches. Wizards are going on 21-9 runs. They went on a 51-27 run from the 9-minute mark until the middle of that fourth quarter, third quarter of the fourth. That's where you're missing a guy like Dennis. Someone, James, who can create a shot for himself or for others, not named LeBron James.
Yeah, he's well missed. There's no question. I think that 17-point lead may have gone to 23 or 24 with Schroeder in the game because not only does he create for himself, he's a willing passer when Montrez is in there, those little internal passes. And he also is a defensive threat, you know, on Bill and Westbrook. He has a tendency to stay in front of people a little bit longer than most. But I think even without, Schroeder, you know, allow somebody else to handle. Set some picks for LeBron. Let him come off of something so it's unpredictable. It is very predictable when he has it. And, you know, he spends about 5 or 6 seconds, 8 seconds, you know, just trying to figure out what he's going to do. And there's nothing going on, no movement. Now, in the second quarter, they were moving, they were slashing, they were doing a lot of things, and they got away from that. So I love having elite players down the stretch, but I think guy's been playing a lot of minutes. He's been carrying them on his back. Without Schroeder, even without Schroeder, you know, you got to run that little curl play for Pope, run that little curl play for Kuzma. They're scoring.
Yeah, and they ran Kenny off that screen, hit that three.
And you can't be unpredictable. And then the silly turnovers. You know, I saw one where Wes Matthews got a steal and just let it go. He just let it go without knowing where the defense was. There were 3 or 4 of those where they could have, you know, enhanced their lead or gotten back in the game. Well, they just, it was an ugly game. And I don't know whether they're tired or fatigued, but that was one that was unacceptable in the third quarter.
Frank had mentioned fatigue for sure playing a factor over this last few weeks, and he cited the overtime games for a big part of it. Coming off that 7-game road trip, you go 3 overtime games in a row at home.
Yeah, when you
one was double.
Yeah, when you do that, you got to realize, I know, you know, Steve Kerr did one of the smartest things you ever say. He did. He told someone, I'm not playing him because
Steph Curry?
Yeah, Steph Curry. When Steve Kerr said Steph Curry, I'm not going to play him because I value him as a player more. And I think Vogel needs to look at LeBron and say, I don't care, LeBron. Man, you can be mad at me all you want. I value your body. I value what you bring to the team later on down the line because we don't want to lose games, but you are more important to us down the stretch. You're going to be fresh. Because we don't know what this league going to do when it comes to playing games. We don't know when the All-Star games are going to be. We don't know when the second half of the schedule come out. We don't know how many games he's going to have to play in a row. So right now, take care of the now and let other guys play. And they had some moments where THT brought the ball up and LeBron gets off it. THT does a good job. He runs the offense and LeBron, he kicks it and moves and cuts. And they need to do more of that. And sometimes you just say, LeBron, we need you down the stretch. Relax.
Yeah, and that's what we were talking about with Trez. Trez did have 5 fouls. We thought he was going to go back in because they were needing a little bit of a spark on that end. It couldn't just be